Hey, how's it going everybody? Chan26 here with another video. Thank you so much for stopping by, I appreciate it. So I'm going to call this video the Blaziken Chronicles Part 1. This will be the first of a few videos I'll be posting dedicated to Blaziken. Right now I feel like Blaziken is extremely strong, very potent, and highly underrated or overlooked by a lot of battlers right now. I'm sure if you've been playing JBL, you start to notice that XL Pokemon have become a lot more apparent. Things like Skarmory, Abomasnow, Galvantula, Stunfisk, Umbreon, Driplum, all that stuff has become a lot more apparent, and that's because, you know, over the last few weeks players have had ample time to gather resources to power up their Pokemon, so they're starting to see a lot more play. And Blaziken as well as Typhlosion have a lot of play against those things. Yes, they do have some unfavorable matchups, but for the vast majority, they can hold their own. So for those of you that are labeling Blaziken and Typhlosion as Vice picks, this is just my personal opinion, but I think you're wrong. I disagree with that notion, and I feel like it's just a giant misunderstanding. Blaziken and Typhlosion had play in the past, but they were kind of niche picks due to the fact that the meta or the things people were playing, depending on your elo, just weren't suited for those two Pokemon. But things are changed. XL Pokemon have been implemented, and I feel like this is the opportunity for these two Pokemon as well as others to shine in their own right. So the gameplay I'm going to show you is a set using just Blaziken as well as, you know, Gallade and Empoleon. This is a team that I feel like was, you know, sort of a meme team at first, but as I continued to practice with it and, you know, work out the kinks, I think it was pretty solid for the most part. In the games that you're about to see, I believe that every single lead position I had an unfavorable matchup. So it's not like me getting a solid lead and just running away with the game, but let's just get into the games and we'll see how it goes. So my Blaziken into Charizard. So this matchup isn't too bad as long as it has Fire Spin, but when it has Dragon Breath or Wing Attack, it's in favor of the Charizard. And this Charizard has Dragon Breath, so it's definitely favored in the Charizard. So, because Dragon Breath generates energy so slowly compared to the other moves, I know this is a Dragon Claw, so I can let it go. And I am going to say this right now, I highly recommend that you run Blaze Kick as well as Stone Edge or Brave Bird, one or the other. Running Blast Burn is completely unnecessary, it's just too high of a cost move. Blaze Kick takes 6 counters to get to the Blaze Kick, and for Blast Burn it takes 8. And when it comes to unfavorable matchups, you need to be able to potentially bait shields out of your opponent, which is why I recommend Blaze Kick. I personally prefer Brave Bird over Stone Edge, you know, for things like Swampert, Venusaur, and like Gallade. I just prefer that moveset. But, you know, if you want to run Stone Edge, that's completely up to you. The only thing worth mentioning is that in order to get Stone Edge, you need to Elite TM it because it is a legacy move. So as you can see, if you're watching the battle, I chose to bring in Gallade because I feel like Gallade is a lot more valuable than Empoleon with energy, assuming they don't have a Charmer, and in this case they don't. So they tried to catch a move most likely. I just get a few extra confusions through, and I'm just going to Leaf Blade. I could have Close Combat, but I prefer to save the energy. And I'm just going to swap out and essentially sack my Empoleon. This Cross Chop won't KO, and I can just farm down the Machamp. And at this HP range, the Typhlosion cannot farm me down. They need to throw a Blast Burn, otherwise I will be able to get to the Hydro Cannon. And in this case, I do. And I'm just going to throw the Hydro Cannon, and it's going to KO the Typhlosion at this range. So GG to my opponent. It's also worth mentioning that I'm also approximately like 3050 elo when I started this set. So, you know, not the highest, but, you know, above legend status technically. So on to the second match. Blaziken into Gallade. Very unfavorable for myself, so I'm going to safe swap to my own Gallade and mirror it. I usually try not to throw my Leaf Blade right away because I try to deter an extra confusion going through. I throw on the 4th Confusion, and I do get it off first. They decide to throw their energy, most likely a Leaf Blade, so I am going to shield this. And I saw that they swapped to an Empoleon, so I'm going to throw the Close Combat. What's surprising is they did not shield. Maybe they were expecting to catch a Leaf Blade, maybe they thought they swapped in time, but they should have known after the Confusion animation that, you know, it was most likely going to be a Blast Burn, a Close Combat. And in this case, my Blaziken aligns with the Typhlosion, which is really well for me. The Incinerates are resisted. I know that Typhlosion has Blast Burn and Solar Beam, so I know I don't have to shield to have to, you know, take the damage from these moves. And I plan on saving the shield from my Empoleon. The Typhlosion is forced to use all their energy, which is perfectly fine. And I'm just going to let it go and just rely on my Empoleon to win the match. And at this point, I have a shield. The Typhlosion had no energy, and the Gallade won't be able to get to 2 moves, so they quit. GG's to my opponent. On to the 3rd match. Blaziken into Driplum. Very unfavorable for myself. Counters are double resisted because of the Flying and Ghost type, so this is going to be an uphill battle. It's potentially a Shadow Ball. Could be an Icy Wind, so it's a 50-50 in this situation. I have to shield to, you know, not get too low. And they swap to Clefable. So I'm going to throw a Brave Bird here, and I'm just going to bail out. I don't want to take any charm damage after I've been debuffed, so I'm going to swap to Empoleon. And what's fortunate for me is that they did not shield. So that means that I'm going to be able to farm down this Clefable, and they won't be able to get to a move, which is very fortunate for me. And they bring back Driplum, which is, you know, very good for me because my backline is weak to Driplum. So my main focus is to get rid of this thing. I gotta get rid of it. And this is most likely a Shadow Ball, so I am gonna shield this to preserve my Empoleon. I just want to make sure this Driplum goes down, and I'm just gonna farm it down. I use both my shields, so it's still a tricky situation, but they have an XL Stunfisk in the back, which is really interesting. They're saving both their shields for this thing, like hoping it can carry them, but my team does extremely well against the Stunfisk. I still have my Blaziken, I have Empoleon, and Gallade can hold its own as well, as long as it, you know, is able to get to a charge move. But once I saw the Stunfisk, I honestly thought to myself, this is GG. There's no way that they can potentially win this game. They need to Earthquake or else it won't KO this Empoleon. They Rock Slide because, you know, they want to try to farm me down, but they're forced to use another Rock Slide worth of energy. I think they realized that they couldn't farm me down because I had too much HP and I was going to get to a Waterfall. But at this point, I just bring my Blaziken back in and I just throw a Blaze Kick. And this is going to KO the Stunfisk, so GG's to my opponent. And that's game 3. So on to the 4th match. Munchlax 2000, another very strong battler. Blaziken into Empoleon. So this matchup isn't too bad, but it can go into Empoleon's favor depending on how many shields they want to commit. And in this case, he safe swaps into Kingdra. My team, I don't have anything particularly strong for Kingdra, but the high risk play that I'm going to make is, you know, bait out a shield. I don't want to throw a Brave Bird because I don't want to use all my energy. And fortunately, I'm able to get one shield, so that's good enough for me. I Safe Swap to Empoleon. The Dragon Breaths are resisted. I resist Octazooka, and I also resist Outrage, but it does a fair bit of damage, assuming I don't shield. So the Outrage lands, and that's fine. I will still get to a Drill Peck. So I throw the Drill Peck here. I wasn't expecting him to shield, but yep, he doesn't shield. And I was debating shielding this, but at the chance that I get debuffed, I don't think it was really well worth it. I'm just going to rely on my back two Pokemon with shields. And I'm going to bring in Blaziken in this matchup. I'm going to farm down the Kingdra and try to get to a Brave Bird. So they're waiting for the switch clock, which is smart, and they bring in Dragonite. I'm just going to throw the Brave Bird right here. I'm not going to get to another charge move, so I might as well go for the nuke play. I get the second shield, and I'm just going to immediately swap. I have to start shielding now, so I'm going to start shielding these Dragon Claws. My mistake is I probably should have threw the close combat a lot earlier instead of getting this low. I feel like I made it a lot closer than I should have. So I'm going to throw the close combat right here. That Waterfall damage isn't going to register because I threw my charge move, and as long as I KO the Empoleon, it's not going to register. And I'm just going to throw the close combat right here. One thing worth noting is that if I had a Shadow Gallade, a good one, I would definitely use that over regular version. I prefer the extra damage over the, the extra bit of durability. Extremely close, and I'm able to counter down the Dragonite with Blaziken, so very close game, GG's. A few misplays on my part, but fortunately I'm still able to come out with the win. And as for the final match, Game 5 of the set, Blaziken into Machamp, Shadow Machamp to be specific. This matchup is actually favored in the side of Machamp. So as you can see at the start of the match, it looks like my opponent lagged a bit, or maybe it was some desync. Not entirely sure. Maybe they just weren't paying attention. But yeah, so I think they're behind 2 counters. I'm not entirely sure. But in the general sense, this matchup is favored for Machamp because it takes 5 cross chops to get, 5 counters to get to a cross chop, and 6 counters to get to a Blaze Kick. So Machamp outpaces the Blaziken, assuming I don't get any extra counters through. And I go to the 2 shield. So I preserve the energy by swapping out, giving up swap advantage. I safe swap to Gallade, and they bring in Snorlax. So this position is very delicate due to the fact that I don't have any shields, and I need to get rid of this thing. So I'm just going to go for it. I'm not going to get to another charge move, so I might as well go for the close combat. And they don't shield, which is very fortunate for me. And they have an XL Umbreon, which is not the greatest thing to see. Fortunately, I'm able to get to a Leaf Blade, so I'm just going to use it right now. Because I'm debuffed, I wasn't going to get to a close combat, but I managed to pull the shield, which is extremely critical in this situation. I come in with Blaziken, and I use that loaded energy and offload it. I'm going to throw the Brave Bird, and I'm going to, I'm going to faint, but that's okay, as long as I get this energy off. At this point, I just need to KO this Umbreon. Machamp is extremely low, so I'm sure a Waterfall worth of damage is going to be able to KO it. I just need to be very careful of the sack swap, otherwise I will lose this game if that happens. So Waterfall goes through, and pay very close attention. So as you can see, the Waterfall animation went off, and they threw a foul play. Unfortunately for them is that they timed their swap, and the Machamp was actually able to take the damage from the Waterfall that went through, and maybe they were expecting a swap, or maybe they were trying to counter me down, but that swap costed them the game. I feel like they should have just stayed in with the Umbreon and then swapped, and then maybe tried to counter down, because counter is slightly faster than Waterfall. But yeah, I feel like that small play and the bit of lag at the beginning of the match unfortunately costed them, but it was still relatively close either way. So as you can see, I finished the set 5-0, and I got a relish for my troubles, which is, you know, probably one of the best rewards I can get from GBL at the current moment. There's really not much that's, you know, piquing my curiosity. So I started the set 30-67, and I climbed to 31-42. So yeah, really decent amount of points that I got there. And as you can see, Blaziken is, you know, fairly decent if you know how to play out certain scenarios. A lot of unfavorable leads for me, so it's not like these matches were very one-sided. I definitely had to find my win con, or, you know, make high-risk plays in order to come out on top. And yeah, right now I think Blaziken is just really strong, as well as Typhlosion, and I'm looking forward to playing these Pokemon in the future, and in my upcoming GBL matches. I just want to experiment with them, and, you know, see how well I can do with them, just for fun, and, you know, showcasing purposes. So that was the video. Thank you guys so much for, you know, coming out to watch my video, and I look forward to posting my next video on Blaziken. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.